Hello, everyone. Welcome to today's episode of Care Sandwich. I am super excited about today's guest because we're going to have a juicy conversation about law firm intake. Yay, one of my favorite topics. Before I bring her out here, I want to play this video for you to remind you what Care Sandwich is all about.
Welcome to Care Sandwich, the podcast where we dive into the success journeys of law firm owners across the country. I'm Margarita Everline, your host and the founder of Marketing Boss, a fractional chief marketing officer firm for law firms. On this show, we'll explore the challenges, strategies, and victories that have shaped law firms and how they wrap every interaction with care. Because we believe that caring isn't just a value, it's a strategy for success. So grab your favorite sandwich, sit back, and let's dig into a conversation filled with insight, inspiration, and of course, a lot of care.
Welcome back. I want to welcome to my virtual stage Brooke, who is with Level Up Coaching, and she's going to tell us all about herself. So how'd you get in this space?
Thanks, Margarita. It's so good to be here. So I got into this space basically in byproduct of working in law firms for most of my career. And so I've done everything from, being a legal secretary back in the day to doing marketing and sales oversight, staff development, things like that. And so a lot of my products just come out of a natural overflow of real life experience and really understanding what is needed inside of a law firm.
And can you share a story or a moment where you thought to yourself, I need a package XYZ service like this because based on what I've seen, it really will help law firms?
Absolutely. Yeah. So we were doing intake before we were doing other parts of the client journey. And intake has become a well-known and understood need for law firms in the past 10 years. But there was this moment where I was like, once we get their intake up and running and the conversions start coming in, then the pain just sort of moves to another area of the firm. And so what we do is we have emotional intelligence training. And so our programs are a little bit different than just your standard, like, let's get your intake in order type of program. Yeah. And we use the emotional intelligence as a foundation also for the rest of the client journey. So client management, time management, interdepartmental alignment. So that was a moment several years ago when we were just doing intake, and I thought there's this whole other need in the market for client journey work as well.
Yeah, I definitely agree. It's all connected. Here at Marketing Boss, we have a methodology that we implement. It's called Connect Convert. And it's a law firm sales methodology, and everything starts with emotion. That is the foundation of what we teach. And to your point, the marketing journey starts with like the ad, but then that interaction with the phone call has to match. And then the experience in customer service also has to match. So let's talk about that customer service piece, because I love that you brought that up. So many law firms that come to us for our law firm sales program, they think, oh yeah, I just need to sign up the cases. And then we're like, wait a minute. Like, how are you actually communicating with people after they sign up to make sure they give you that 5-star review? So walk us through, how do you help law firms with that aspect of, I'm going to call it the client experience?
100%. Yeah. So we first focus on what we call the gap period. So you're familiar with this, between, marketing is, I get you to raise your hand. Sales is, I get you to commit. And then after they go through the sales process, they're getting far less attention. They're not getting multiple phone calls every day. They're not getting that sort of positioning of being wooed. And so we want to look at the gap period first and say, what's going on between the sign up and the first, conversation. And then, of course, you want to create a management of expectations, because you can't treat a new client with a case manager the same way that intake does. Case managers have 50, 100, 120 cases, right? And intake is chasing like 20 or 30 leads and among multiple people, right? Depending on your size. So you really do have to take that time with the client in the beginning and manage their expectations. Say, you're here now. And so you shouldn't expect to hear from me every day. And if you don't do that, then that's where case managers get into trouble, because clients are calling them every couple of days. What's my update? What's my update? They didn't manage those expectations in the beginning.
Yeah, and I have seen, in our role as a CMO, we do encourage law firms to use automation for some of that onboarding education. But the human touch, it's not a replacement for the human touch. Like, you still want that trust with the case manager. At one of the touch points, be like an actual human interaction, not just an automated text and email.
Yeah. I mean, we're seeing the case managers that are trained in our method double their referrals inside of a few months, and it's
that's
just
it.
Yeah.
The cost per case is just getting more and more expensive for all law firms all over the country, all practice areas, because what's happening is more people are saturating marketing channels. So it's driving costs up. So if you're listening to this, like, this is money that you can pull out of what you're already doing without focusing on that top of the funnel. Client referrals, that's a marketing strategy. You have to have some sort of referral strategy for existing clients, your network. And this is such a simple way. And it's not really doing extra work, right?
Right. It's just changing your technique. It's actually less work once you learn the technique, because your client's expectations are managed. So let's say you can take a client who calls you every 2 days, and you can train them to sit for a once a week short meeting where you do everything. Right. So you're minimizing those interruptions, which will cost you hours and hours in your day when you're interrupted constantly in productivity. You're relegating that to a 30-minute block, which is so much easier to manage.
Yeah, and it can be as simple as just being present. Imagine having a conversation with a client who's hysterical, blowing up your phone, wanting to know what's going on with their case, like every day, every hour. I'm exaggerating, right?
Yeah,
and
but not really. Yeah,
yeah, maybe. Instead of sending them the voicemail and saying something like, "Oh, well, I'm sorry, the attorney's not available," or "Let me take a message," right? It's like a pressure cooker. You say, "Oh my gosh, Brooke, I hear you. You called yesterday, didn't you? Oh my gosh. Okay, I'm gonna take a message. Here's the deal. The team is working really hard on your case. And my name's Margarita, by the way. Make sure if you need anything, whatever. But here's the process that happens with your kind of case. Like, I hate to tell you this, but we can't, there really isn't updates this frequently, but don't worry, we got you. How's your day going?" Right? Like, connect as a human.
Yeah.
That person will feel like, oh, they see me, versus the vicious cycle of, because I've seen this at law firms where they have these meetings and they're like, what do we do about client XYZ? And she keeps calling or he keeps calling. And it's like, this is actually really simple. Just spend 5 minutes, ask them about their day, ask them how they're feeling, let them vent a little bit, and reassure them and educate them a little bit on the process. And that can go a long way versus letting your phone lines get cluttered. And then now you're having an intake issue because you're missing calls now because existing customers are tying up the lines, tying up your people. And then you're over here spending more money on call centers. It's just such a way to burn money.
Well, yep. And your receptionists are turning over because the clients are yelling at them and all of that. Yeah. So in our class, I teach what we call the emotional intelligence matrix. So it has 3 elements. The first one is just what you can see without any analysis. The second is the blind spot. So think about their blind spots or your own blind spots. And then the third is hidden motivators. And the better you get at emotional intelligence, the easier it is to spot blind spots and hidden motivators, and then just go straight to the matter of what they need, what they need, not the constant, because that's not really what they need. That's not really what they're looking for. They're looking for someone to identify their motivator and meet it.
Yeah, and in many instances is as simple as I just want to know that someone's seeing me and listening to me.
Yeah.
That's a psychological need. But yeah, there's the other stuff, right? Like they might need trust, so they ask a lot of questions.
Yeah.
But this is great, Brooke. How can folks get a hold of you if they want to learn more about your methodology and your training and the coaching that you provide?
Yeah, please do reach out. My email is Brooke, Brooke, at leveluplawfirmcoaching.com. So that's there on the screen. If you're interested in any of this or just have questions, I'm happy to answer them. So please reach out.
That's really cool. And you must have a lot of fun with psychology too. So I bet, because I know we do. So yeah.
It is fun. It's a lot of fun, especially when you're able to meet needs directly, and then you see the numbers go up. So that's the best part. Well, actually, the best part is when a student comes to me and says, "I used these techniques at home with, like my spouse, whatever." And I'm like, that just.
Yeah. That's so funny. Yeah, I did a workshop the other day with one of our crim law firms, and I think like 5 minutes into the conversation, I was like, I want to invite you as I'm teaching you this stuff. Think about how you're going to use this with your kids and your spouse. It made it a lot more fun. So
Absolutely transferable. Yes.
yeah, that's so cool. So Brooke, are there any really simple tips that somebody who's listening can look for as, oh, these are indicators that this is what I'm needing? Like, are there any stats, KPIs that for you are flags of this is where my pain points are?
Yeah, absolutely. So, intake is really easy. It's conversion rate, revenue, and if it's below where it should be, then, and it's different for consultative sales versus PI.
Mm-hmm.
So the numbers are different. So, there's that to consider. But it gets a little bit more complicated down the client journey because everybody just kind of does their job and assumes that if they're getting cases settled that everything's going to be fine. You don't see all of that hidden opportunity cost. But if your receptionists are getting yelled at, if you have a lot of squeaky wheel clients that aren't being managed, that's on the operations side. And then if your referrals are not where you want them to be, then you have room to grow. And it really is as simple as changing your technique, changing your strategy. If your team members are coachable and willing to implement, then those numbers will go up.
Yeah, not extra work, not extra people, not necessarily extra tools. Like this is a no-brainer. It's just changing the intention, the emotion, the approach. That's it. I think this sounds super simple. This has been a great conversation, Brooke. I have one more question for you. It's a fun question. Okay. Our episode is called, or our show is called Care Sandwich. So I like to ask every guest, what is your favorite sandwich?
Oh, that's easy. Yeah. I like provolone and cheese or provolone and turkey on a bagel melted.
On a bagel melted. Oh, that sounds creamy. Very rich.
Yes. And mayonnaise.
Love it. Super simple. No veggies?
Nope. Just the carbs and the cheese and the meat.
I love it. Simple. Yeah. There you have it, folks.
What's your favorite sandwich, Margarita?
I love all sorts of sandwiches. I've heard about so many new sandwiches through hosting this podcast, but my go-to is always Italian. I love Italian, like salami, all the meats that give you cancer. Those are my favorite ones. I'm like, yeah. So yeah.
You can't go wrong with salami, really.
Oh my gosh. It's just, I don't know. And maybe I think genetically I'm Italian because I like pasta. I like all that stuff. So anyway, I'm Mexican, so I should like tacos more than pasta, but anyway.
There are no rules.
This has been a great conversation. Let's put your contact info on there one more time. If you're listening, please take this down, explore. Whether you do our program Connect Convert or Brooke's methodology, it really doesn't matter, guys. Like literally lowest hanging fruit, pot of gold already sitting, just ready to get tapped into in your firm is intake, empathy, the way you treat customers. Put this in your ecosystem. Do yourself a favor and share this episode with as many law firms as possible. Let's turn law firms into caring places that are known for caring. So
let's do it. Yeah, sounds good.
Thank you all for watching. See you on the next episode.
Thank you for joining us on this episode of Care Sandwich. Remember, the way we care for our clients, our teams, and ourselves can make all the difference in our success. Until next time, keep caring, keep growing,